to our council meeting today, the 1st of August. If we could all please stand for our opening karakia. Te tawa mai runga, te tawa mai raro, te tawa mai roto, te tawa mai waho, kia tau ai te mauri tū, te mauri ora, ki te katoa, haumi e, hui e, tae ki e. We have no apologies. Are there any conflicts of interest? No public forum. Just from myself, I would like to welcome back Councillor Keith Price. Lovely to have you here with us today, and looking forward to you participating as you always do.
Thank you.
Are there any minor matters not on the agenda? Any announcements by management? Confirmation of the minutes of the council meeting held on Thursday, the 27th of June. If I could thank you, Councillor Mawson and Councillor Crystal. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. And on to our one agenda item, which is the Māori Wards Amendment Legislation Community Engagement Considerations. And I would invite Jane and Anna up to speak to the paper, please. And Anne. Morning, ladies.
Cool. Good morning, everyone. So we just wanted to give a quick update because obviously the legislation has just passed. So at the time of writing the paper, it hadn't. So we were wondering if there were going to be any further changes to it, but there weren't. So the only change, real substantive change that was made prior to that, since our last workshop with you, was that the government has made it mandatory for councils to make an active decision to either rescind or reaffirm their previous decision to establish Māori wards at the 2025 election. So that's just, and that's noted in the paper for you as well. So obviously this is led by central government, this legislative change. We've got just over a month to make the formal decision. So we've scheduled in a council meeting for the 5th of September. The decision has to be made by the 6th. The Act doesn't expressly state how we should consult with the community, but it does expressly rule out the special consultative procedure. So we have to look at a significance and engagement policy and the requirements in the Local Government Act, which we've done. And so we've got a bit of a streamlined consultation approach that you've seen in the report. Probably just to note too, the Local Government Commission, hot off the press yesterday, have written some guidelines. So we've read through those and what we've suggested all complies with the guidelines. So it's a little bit of a pick-a-path novel, this process. So there's lots of different pathways that could occur. So we've just put up a diagram as well, which might be useful for everyone, just to kind of conceptualise all these different pathways and what could or could not happen under each. The conversation with the community, because we've had this conversation in 2021, and it was quite a comprehensive consultation at that time, over months, we can undertake a streamlined approach this time, and I'll get Anne to just give you a bit of a rundown on that, if that's okay, Anne.
So there is a high-level engagement plan in the paper, but just to summarise, we're proposing a 2-week consultation period with 2 drop-in sessions and a communication plan with that. So that's all I really need to say, but if you've got any questions, happy to answer them.
Great, thank you. Yeah. Sorry, Jane.
And just to add to that, so there's just a few, 2 minor amendments to the engagement plan. So there won't be any radio comms, and the consultation will end on the 22nd of August at 5 p.m. instead of, I think, what was proposed, which was the 23rd. So that will give 10 clear working days and 2 weekends for the consultation to occur. And then on the other side, that will give enough time for officers to develop the report and obviously meet the legislative timeframes to bring it to you for consideration on the 5th. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you very much. Questions, Councillor Bogue?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. Just going back to the actual bill, I don't know if it's a question for you or for the Mayor. Could you just remind us, did we make a submission to that bill and what was the position we took?
We may need to ask
Yes.
council officers. I know
Yes,
Yes.
we did. One was done on behalf of the council, and it was in line with the Waitangi Tribunal and LGNZ Taituara that we, our position was we felt the bill wasn't in line with how we think Māori wards should be treated. Being that there are other wards like rural wards and that sort of thing that are not subject to these provisions.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Just noting there is a slight amendment to the recommendation before us, just Part A, as the bill has now been passed. So we've just amended that first portion of the recommendation to state that it was passed into law on the 31st of July 2024. Is there any general discussion before I open for a mover and seconder? That being the case, I'm happy to move from the chair. If I could have a seconder, please.
Second.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Brosnan. And thank you to all the team who have been frantically working on this. Obviously, this has been imposed upon us by central government, and as mentioned by yourself, Jane, in 2021 we went through 5 months of extensive consultation with our community when we made the decision to introduce Māori wards. So now we obviously have been told we must go back out to our community in light of the changes that have been passed into legislation. So this provides us with a window to go back out to our community before we make that final decision either to affirm or rescind our original decision. So thank you for all the work that you've done on this. Deputy Mayor Brosnan, did you wish to speak?
I support the recommendation and what you have said. I think it is a real shame that this piece of legislation has come at the time it has for Napier. I think it puts us in a particularly difficult situation, not having been able to implement the fully consulted and decisions that we had already made on Māori wards and show the value of that to our community through our governance representation to the city. So I think it is a shame that we are put in this position, and I think the staff have done a great job around putting together a framework for us to be able to get to a decision point ahead of the milestones set in the legislation. So, yeah, I would support the recommendations. Thank you, Mayor Wise.
Thank you very much. Any further speakers? Councillor Bowe.
Madam Mayor, can I just ask another question about the process? Okay. Does anybody know if all councils have to have a vote on whether they rescind or not their decision?
So there's 2 groups of councils. Councils like Wairoa, or there's 3 groups, sorry. Councils like Wairoa that had Māori wards prior to Labour's change to the legislation, they don't need to do anything further because they had a poll as part of their establishment of Māori wards. There's a group 1 who resolved to establish Māori wards and have already done so, like Hawke's Bay Regional Council, and their decision will be to disestablish as opposed to rescind, and they have a slightly different process or pathways as a result of that. And then Group 2, which Napier City Council is part of, along with there's about 8 to 10 councils in the same position who made the decision but have not yet established the Māori wards.
Thank you.
Are there any further speakers? That being the case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you, team. Thank you, everybody. That brings us to the conclusion of our council meeting, and we will now be, of course, moving into Sustainable Napier, followed by Future Napier. So we'll just have a brief couple of minutes.